Hello, Culture Matters podcast. Buckle up. Before I introduce you to our guest, here is a quote just for this episode. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Calvin Coolidge. Our guest today is someone I had the great pleasure of befriending, someone I consider a man of honor and indefatigability. I prepared this conversation. As I was
Indefatigable.
preparing for this conversation, this one word kept coming up for me from our guest, the one and only Jason DuPont. I consider a leader, a speaker, a comedian,
No.
a founder, a maverick, an innovator, a friend. I could go on and on. Jason DuPont. I did want to start with this. This word, indefatigable. Not entrepreneur only, not executive only, not visionary only, but that word, what does that word mean to you? And how did it become part of your aura, part of your who you are, your
Yeah,
obsession?
man, that's a good one. What, so Indefatigable, right? Indefatigable, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of ways there's not a lot. There's two ways that I know of to pronounce it, but I think at the end of the day, if you want to go root meanings, you're gonna say I can't be fatigued, right? Cannot be fatigued. And I think the my daughter actually gave me that nickname um, because of who I am and who she saw her father as, cannot be worn out, cannot be stopped. And I believe that for us, we stop ourselves. We are our own limitations. There's no other way to say it.
How?
How do we
How?
stop ourselves?
Yeah.
Well, you'll hear that people say that I'm doing all I can. Are you? Do you feel that way? Are you really? And I think sometimes we think we are. I think a lot of times we think we are. But are we doing what we can? I think in athletics, in sports, we can take those lessons into normal life. But if I were to run, why can't I go one more step further than when I decide to stop? If I were to sprint all out, why
Mm,
can't I go just a quarter step further?
mm.
What is making me give up? If I'm going to do a long distance race, maybe I don't even have the right body type for it. Maybe I'm fast twitch instead of slow twitch. But what's making me hit my limit? Is it me or is it that I actually hit my limit? I would argue with you, Jay. By the way, we've never had some great debates before, which I absolutely love. I would argue with you that we stop early. Now that might be okay. That might be a thing to protect us. That might be
Mm.
a thing so we don't go too far. But when there are very few, I believe there are very few people in this life that can truly pass their limits, that can push themselves past what they're able to do. And I've told you this quote that I used when I was cycling a lot. You'll pass out before you die. You will pass out before you die.
Wow.
If you haven't passed out, have you gone far enough? Where's the cutoff? So we can say it's a spectrum. So where am I at? Do I pass it? Do I quit here? 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 Where do I quit? Because mine is going to be different than you. That doesn't matter. It's me versus me. So how do I extend myself to myself? I don't care about anyone else. I don't need to measure against everyone else. So that'd be my loaded answer.
Before we hit record, you were talking about lifting 443,
I looked
446,000.
that up again. What was it, 446? It was just yesterday. I'm still dead from it. Um, I'm gonna just look this up real quick because I can't even remember. 400, it's my PR by the way. 446,295. So 446,000 pounds. I have a goal. Like I get crazy goals for myself. I would love to hit 1,000,000 pounds in one sitting. That's my next goal. And I've progressed up to it. Like hit 100,000, hit 200,000. I've been tracking my Whoop. I think I'm at over 2,000 something days, right? So, 5 years or whatever it is, 6 years.
Wow.
Um, so I'm a big data nerd and, track all this stuff. And I've been in the red, meaning my recovery's been just crap from all the travel, all the stuff I've been doing. It's been just, my recovery's been low. And I decided okay, I need to take a couple days and just try to get back. And then yesterday I woke up high in the green. My HRV was high. My recovery was huge. I'm like, sounds like a good day to kill myself.
Wow.
And so I kind of thought, okay, ate well, kind of rested well, went into it. Just like as if I was doing an endurance race, doing a marathon, doing an Everest, doing an Ironman, any of those things, you're gonna go into it, right? Except with me, sometimes what I like to do is I like to just find that day and just go. I said, today I'm gonna PR. And when I went to the gym, I said to myself, I'm not leaving till I PR. And the thing is, the way all my tracking works, I don't even know if I fully hit it, but I just kind of guessed to me. I'm like, okay, but also your body tells you, right? When I just couldn't lift anymore, could not lift anymore.
Did you pass out?
No. So what does that mean? I could have went more.
You see,
Could have I got to 450? I guarantee I could have. I just meant so let's answer that real quick.
it's
It's
powerful.
not like my muscles fatigued out. I mean, they were, trust me. I mean, I was not able to lift or shaking and all that, right? Because think about this for a second. If I go bench 200 pounds and I do 10 reps, that's 2,000 pounds. I did 446,000 pounds. So think of how much weight that is for all the different exercises. Now, just so you know, I have decently strong legs, so there were a few leg exercises that kind of, boosted a little bit. But it's full body workout too. I was not, but even if I'm doing like, I don't know, 30, 40 pounds on bicep curls, like I'm still if I do 40 pounds times, one arm, right? Times 10 reps, that's 400 pounds. So to do that, my body was dead. But did I give up early? At some point, I believe that mentally we give up before we physically give up. And in life, if I were to take it away from an exercise thing, I think we go with me on this one. I think we mentally give up before we mentally give up. In other words, we give up. We talk ourselves out of things all the time. We can be the biggest baller there is, but our own insecurity is our own self, even if we've got a good ego, even if we're confident, there are certain things in life that we tend to shy away from. And man, when we kick ourselves out of that comfort zone, that's when we grow.
If did you have a workout partner in that exercise that you did today?
Yesterday, no.
Or, I'm sorry, yesterday. That
No.
was the PR, it was yesterday.
Yesterday. Today I'm dead. So today I can barely walk. And when I say barely walk, I'm you don't want to see me.
Do,
Ouch.
if you did, do you think you could have gone even farther?
Yes, if there's someone that had that same madness. So here's the thing. This is actually a really good question. Who you partner with in life in all things matters. Because if that partner could not have standed a 3 hour plus workout, doing all that intensity, and keep going and push through, and if they were not encouraging, like, oh yeah, you're good, man. Man, you've lifted more than you've ever lifted on squats before. Yeah, you're good. Or you know what? You better rest up. You better heal, right? Or you're going too far. You're going to break something. for what I was trying to accomplish, that's not the mindset I would want. So if I had the partner that was like, dude, you're going to crush this, and they could last and they could do the same thing, even if they weren't doing it with me, even if they were coaching along, of course I could go further. But they got to be the right partner. They got to want it as bad or more than you do. If they want it less than you, they're going to give up before you. I've got to go take a phone call. I've got to go do this. Well, how does that help me? That's right. But that's everything in life. That's true in business too, right? You have two partners and they're not cohesive, they're not congruent. There's some problems that arise. Not that we have to be the same. There will always be some disparity.
I take you as someone fascinated by human potential.
Yes.
Has that always been the case?
Hmm. Because why are we here? It comes back to, you know what it comes back to? Two digits, 42. Look at you,
For
brother. You
those on the
you even pulled
video,
it out. I know right where that was on your bookshelf behind you. You pulled that thing out.
so I'm holding for those that are listening, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was actually by the pool, but I went and got it before this. I was thinking about you, and I got a book that reminded me of endurance.
Oh, look at that, Unbroken.
Stephen Ronald told me to read this years ago.
You'll have to tell me
I'm
how you like the Unbroken book.
I'm gonna read it.
Very
I
curious what
never
your
read it.
thoughts on it. I'm very curious your thoughts on it.
And then I bought Endurance because
Oh, you did?
I was prepared. I mean, when I looked into the word
Indefatigable?
and I was reflecting on your keynote, I want to ask about. It's a so do you remember the first time that you opened up the fridge and you looked at a milk carton and you thought about human potential?
From the milk carton?
42. So
No, the reason I bring up 42 is because it comes back down to the meaning of life. Why are we here? I'm not here to just play around for somewhere between 50 to 100 years. I'm not here for that. Could I? Yeah. Dude, we all have a past. We all have ways we grew up. I could play video games all day for the rest of my life if I wanted to. I don't want to. So once you see yourself improve and you start growing yourself, man, it is fun to see others. It's actually a higher high. It's actually a bigger loop to see impact and see others change their lives and level up. And then how do we all level up together? How do we have these conversations, but actually take action from these conversations? So that's my long-winded answer to that question.
would you consider yourself made by Bank of America?
No. Yes.
You're so you're in a cubicle or
Hmm.
you're at a teller
No, a cubicle.
working.
Cubicle.
Okay. What do you see? Who are you talking to? What are your goals and how are you interfacing with the world today so I can make sure everyone understands? Jay helps so many people. He
So B
leads
of
by
A,
example.
B of A
But
wasn't my first job by any means.
what was the first job?
I was the last paper boy in Arizona delivering the Arizona Republic 60 papers a day. And
60.
they made all the routes car routes, and I had the last bike route.
What time? Okay, so how old are you?
I don't know, dude, like 12, 13.
And you had the last bike route? What does that mean?
Well, all the routes converted to cars, and I wanted to stay, and I kept begging and pleading and borrowing and stealing, and I got to throw papers off my bike till they finally ripped it from me.
How long did it take to do the 60 papers?
A long time because I had to do multiple trips. And
What were you-
Sundays, I had to get like people to help me because those papers were thick. So we'd have to like, put them in the back of a car or something.
Really?
Yeah. Because they were thick. I mean, this is back when papers were a thing, right? I don't know the last time I've got a paper, but yeah. So did that. Man, I had some interesting jobs. So, busboy at a restaurant in high school. You've heard of things like DECA, right? Where you go like, so DECA is a thing
What's-
that you go, I think you usually do it your senior, junior, maybe. And you go to school half the day, and then the other half the day, your hours at your job count towards your credits.
Oh,
And I was so far ahead. So I did what's called HERO, home economics related occupations. And so
wow.
my busboy counted towards some of my credits in school. And I'll tell you, my biggest learning lesson was I was bussing this table, bringing out the salsa and chips, and spilled salsa all over this girl.
What did you learn?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out, but it was a big lesson. No,
Have you always been this funny?
I'm not that funny. Not that funny. But I'll tell you, I did enjoy that job. What I learned the most from that job though was I had different bosses, and so I'd close at night and I'd have to clean up the restaurant and we'd use these sweepers, get all the rice off the carpet and make sure all the tables were nice and do all these things. And I had one boss that I do my normal job, and he'd say, "Okay, Jason, great job, go." My other boss, I do the same exact job, not any better, not any worse. But he'd be like, there's one kernel of rice in the very corner of that under the table by the table leg. Go do the whole thing again."
Wow.
So I just learned how to deal with different types of people. I learned that the same effort could produce different results from the people that are kind of over you, that are leading you. And it taught me a lot. It taught me how to navigate. So you got to think I'm a young teenager at that time, but I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, this is interesting. So I could do the same exact effort, but get rewarded by two different types of things from two different people that are both my superiors. Okay, I know how to play this game, right? So did that. Um,
Wow.
have you ever seen those gigantic gumball machines in airports and different places?
Yeah.
I used to build those.
Really?
Yeah, global gumball. Used to build them out of some dude's garage. Yeah, we would listen to AC/DC all day and build gumball machines.
What,
Fiberglass, we just build it all out.
and what was your role?
Building the gumball machines.
How?
Well, we'd cut the fiberglass, we'd form it, we'd shape it, we'd build it, we'd put the resin in. I mean, the whole thing. And then we'd have to take all the parts, put them in. It was a whole process.
What, where did you want to end up at that point in your journey of entrepreneurship? And
I wanted to, so I just was an employee, right? I learned from that business that I wanted to be entrepreneurial. Like, you got to remember, like, I worked at this job where these people treated me different based on the same level of work. Then I worked at a job where I saw this guy take nothing and build this empire of global gumball machines from his garage.
wow.
I was just like, all right, this is interesting. Life's interesting. I worked uh I worked at a fabrication place where we used to, so cubicles. Um, we would strip down the cubicle walls and recarpet them, and then we'd put the carpet on and ship them out in this big warehouse. I don't even remember the name of that place, but I learned a lot there. I learned that I did not like doing the same thing over and over and over with no challenge and no pattern difference. Because after you do, 4,000 of those, you remember that your 20th one was the exact same and you're, kind of done, right?
Hmm.
But I enjoyed it. I mean, you learn. Everything was learning. I mean, the best thing there was learn how to drive a forklift.
What can driving a forklift teach someone about leadership?
You get to, you ever seen The Office?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Hey, I'll come back to that one. Real quick, worked at a behavioral health center. So that was working in group homes with kids that were in group homes. So I'd go help those kids out, give them all their medications, kind of nanny them, take care of them, counsel them, those kind of things. That was really interesting because it was more like in a behavioral health field. And I thought that was kind of cool. And little odd jobs here and there before the bank. But finally, I decided I was actually I was actually dating this girl, and she's like, "Hey, you should go work at Bank of America. This is what they pay." I'm like, "All right, can you get me a job there?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll get you a job." So then she got me the interview, and I got the job.
Did you envision yourself running that someday?
No, what I envisioned, I just thought it was kind of cool. And look, I was a very, 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 very cocky individual.
Really?
Not too proud of that. Yeah, I was a complete jerk.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never would have guessed.
Yeah, I know you would. You totally would. That's who I am now. But anyways, um, yeah, so we'd sell accounts, Otma accounts, checking savings, credit cards. Um, got really good at selling credit cards. Really good at selling credit cards. And so the reason I say it's cubicle is because I went to a center called Banker on Call, which is basically incoming and outgoing phone calls. And so I learned how to maximize my time by making these phone calls. So I could make more contacts than sitting in the bank and having people come to me and me open accounts. I can call people and get more accounts. And it was all relationship driven. So I was paid and incentivized to get people more than one account. So if they got just a checking, okay, now I need to get you a checking and a savings and a debit card and a credit card and a card for your kids and a Prima account. And maybe I could get you over to investment services. Maybe I could talk you into HELOC. So everything was how to get more relationships.
You were calling out versus waiting people to come in.
I was doing both. So yes, I was calling out, but I was also receiving incoming calls for people that maybe they went into a branch and they were beta testing this thing where they'd go to a branch, call me, I'd set it all up, and then they'd go meet with their personal banker. So um, yeah, that was phenomenal, and absolutely loved it. And the problem is I outdid everyone, but not by like just a little bit, by like 4 or 5x to the number two. So that's kind of cool, right? Outsold everyone by far. Here's the part that's not cool. I let everyone I let everyone know
It's not-
that I was 4 or 5x
Is this
the number two
Frankenstein?
spot.
Is it... Sorry, keep going.
No,
I,
it's
what
dude,
happened? I didn't hear it. What?
yeah, it was not a good thing. So I didn't make too
You
many friends, you know. But it was fun and it was exciting and it was I really learned how to connect with people and I don't like the word sell. It is sales, but it's fulfilling needs. It's helping them understand they need something that they don't even know they need. Benefit selling.
I th I, what kind? So this I think could be deeply helpful for people.
Yeah.
What kind of jerk were you then?
Uh, to my customers or to my coworkers?
Oh yeah, the culture, right? Like the we have top performers listening to
Well, I
this.
will I
Maybe
will
they're 19 years old.
so in that sense, I was the kind of jerk that didn't make friends. So I didn't put lifting others up as an important thing back then because even though I kind of knew it and I'd phased through in and out of that through my life, at that point, what was more important to me for the wrong reasons was to say, you suck, number two. How come I'm doing 4 times as much as you? And number 2000, why you even work here? That it was the wrong, it was a pompous, arrogant approach that shouldn't have been there. And I had to learn that. Um, Still liked being number one, but
Why do you think that was not the right approach today? Yeah. Why
today my
why
lens
is that the wrong
because
approach in your view?
because of where my lens is today, and this most people will not agree with. You ready for it? They will not agree with this. I would have probably made more money and had more time. And when I say probably, I would have had I lifted all those up around me versus putting them down. So if I would have taken those efforts and when someone said, Jason, how are you doing that? Instead of me saying, yo, you swear word, swear word, swear word, Tourette syndrome, Tourette syndrome, Tourette syndrome coming out on them, if I would have said, hey, let me show you, or let's talk about this, or let's listen to some of your calls and I can help you out. Instead of taking that time and helping my fellow person, I mean that would have been a night and day difference.
How has being the person that lifts people up today transformed your life and others around you?
Because you look at things different. I'll relate it to a couple different things. So first of all, poker. So for those of you that have played poker, we can pick any of the games. So let's just pick Hold'em because that's probably one of the most common or popular ones. If someone's at a table and they're playing a cash game, so not a tournament, but a cash game, and they're paying some decent stakes, where it's not just money, it's not just like pennies or something, where you're playing something decent, and you have money at the table. And this can be related to a tournament too, but I'm just going to do cash game for a second. If I have a hand and I want to bluff, or if let's say I have it and I want to draw it in, it doesn't matter. Let's talk about bluffing. If I want to bluff, if I play with scared money, I will lose every single time. If I'm willing to risk it all, my odds, my game theory, my percentage chance of winning go way up. So whenever you play with scared money, whenever you play from behind, whenever you play with fear in any aspect of life, your odds of the outcome that you want most, which is what I deem game theory as, right? The game theory is, if we were to define it, would be to say doing the thing that has the highest probability chance of giving you the most desired outcome. I mean, yep. Doing the thing that gives you the highest probability chance of getting you the most desired outcome. That's how I would define game theory. If I play with scared money, that's never going to happen because I'm not going to put myself in a position to win. In saying that, you don't guarantee anything. It's all probability, but life's probability too, just people don't realize it. So if I put myself in the position, I have a better chance, right? Than if I don't. If I go up to hit a home run and I'm in a bunting position, probably the odds are I'm not going to hit a home run. If I have a good swing and I have a solid connect, it doesn't guarantee I hit a home run. But I definitely, if I'm swinging for the fence, my odds go way up. So it's those kind of things.
What experience and or happenstance, people, what changed from when you were not acting this out at Bank of America to then between where you are today? What happened? Did how
My
did you change this? How did this philosophy change?
once you get to a point where you don't care, where you can be yourself no matter what, where you're not like if you're in a job and you're just fighting to keep your job all the time, that's not the same as if you're just doing the right thing to do the right thing. Your lens changes, your whole mindset changes, everything changes. The culture of those around you change just by you having a mindset where you're not always playing from scared, playing from behind, playing with fear. As soon as you can remove fear, everything changes.
Did you remove fear before M leads or after when you came back?
Oh, it'd been gone. For Emily's is gone.
How was it broken?
When I left Bank of America, I wanted to get into mortgage, and they had told me it was the dumbest thing I could ever want. I'm like, but man, those mortgage guys, they seem to make some good money. I look at the charts, I'm like, oh, I could be an anesthesiologist, I could be this, I could be this, these different charts on what different people make, right? Attorney, all these things. Like, man, these mortgage guys seem to do pretty well. Yeah, I'm good with numbers. So, but when I went to it, I had 2 weeks of training, unpaid. So I would just gotten married. I'm not working because I leave Bank of America. I have no
Oh,
income. And I take this straight commission job, unpaid. Doing this. Jay, I was scared out of my mind. I don't know what to do. All I knew was I had a wife that I needed to take care of that I promised that I would take care of her forever. And that I had to fulfill this promise. So there was no fail. The thing is, people talk about failure, and I love the phrase of, win or learn. I never fail, either win or I learn, those kind of things. Love those things. Great mindset. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to fail. So this is what happened.
yeah, yeah.
My wife was a full-time student at ASU, full ride scholarship. Okay. I'm, you know, I'm her deadbeat husband, for lack of a better term. So, she was a dance major. She was very, 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 very good at ballet. So I'd go pick her up from ASU. I'd be wearing like my suit that was the cheapest suit I could find, and she'd be dressed like, in flimsy dance clothes. So we were the couple made in heaven, right? Match made in heaven. But she said, you know what, honey, I believe in you. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go get a student loan. I'm gonna go get a student loan. I don't need it. I'm gonna go get a student loan for $2,000. I'm like, okay, we'll put 1,000 in our checking and 1,000 in our money market. And if we have to, we'll find a way to live, right? So we did that, and I got through my 2 weeks. This is before the internet. I had no realtor relationships. I just went door knocking down South Phoenix. I did not know how to get a loan, so I'm like, I'm not going to fail. I'm just going to go do what I don't know what to do. So in that moment when I'm having to do this stuff, yeah, all my pride, all my confidence, all my I'm better than everyone, yeah, that went away. And I learned to be meek and humble, and that was a strength, not a weakness, because my whole life I was told that was a weakness. My whole life it was like you have to dominate. Well, yeah, it's great to dominate. But I'll tell you, if you can be this quiet force that can crush anything, it's way stronger. People just don't realize it because they don't see you coming. So I learned those skills door knocking in South Phoenix, and that was powerful. By the way, side story, never touched that 1,000 in my money market.
Huh.
We
You remember
never
your
ever
first
had to
sale?
even dip into that.
You remember your first sale, the first door, the first
Oh yeah.
customer?
Oh yeah. She was amazing. She was amazing, dude. Dude, I had been hearing no, 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 and a lot of swear words and a lot of other stuff that I really want to say right now, but I'm going to be respectful to the pod. But holy cow, uh, every kind of racial remark, everything you can possibly think of. But this lady let me in. Her car, there were no usury laws back then. Her car was at 36% interest.
What?
Yeah. Her house was free and clear though, because she'd been given it in a will. 36% interest. So you can imagine her payment on her car was very high, very high. And so I said, why don't we pay off your car with your house? Looking for things. And I had no idea what I was doing. I really no clue. I went to my boss. He told me how to structure it. So I went out to her house. I'm at her kitchen table, just me and her. I'm handwriting everything out. And I just remember like I wrote out the good faith estimate. I wrote out 18% interest.
Hmm.
I wrote out a $24,000 loan. I wrote out a origination fee of $4,000. Everything else. It sounds like I took advantage of her. Like by today's standards, people are like, you took advantage of her. The thing is that her payment, because we extended over 30 years, went to nothing. And then what she did is she took all that extra and paid it right back and paid it off early. Okay. I cut her interest rate in half, guys. Um, I was hooked. For my first deal, I was paid 25%, so I got $1,000 of that 4,000 hard money loan. And I was hooked. I was like, okay, okay, I can do this. Um, she loved me so much, and the relationship skills kind of took over. And she was my best referral source for years and years and years because I was willing to talk to her and not treat her like a second-rate citizen or something. Like I wasn't treating her like she was not how she should be treated. You guys realize back then you could go to these pay-as-you-go car lots or these different places and they would just take advantage of people and they'd have nowhere to go because they didn't have resources. She didn't have good credit, but it worked out. And that was my very first loan. You never forget your first. You remember your first podcast?
Yeah, J- uh, it's funny. I thought it was Janine, but no, it's Jeb. Jeb Blunt. Well, there's podcast before
Culture.
podcast,
Yeah, 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 yeah. I got it.
and
We'll call
there
those
there
one-offs.
there are a couple that really some relationships that today have meaning and significance, and they were the first in person, like when I went to the offices with my camera, my rinky,
Yeah,
and those relationships are Mike
they're
McCann, the real
invaluable.
estate man, and Barry Habib actually, um, who but
These are good relationships are everything, brother. They're everything. So that's yeah, that's a little bit of my history. But yeah, you we had some fun out there at Tag. You got to see some of that stuff.
I want well, so okay. I took notes on your stage time, and and can you unpack your take on vulnerability?
On
How
the
that,
importance of it.
yeah, how do you
Well,
say
I gotta say
vulnerability?
this. I gotta say this for your audience. Jay is one of the very few people that understood the layers of my talk on stage, which I totally want to commend you on. Because a lot of people don't see things with depth. And I think we lose perspective when we only look at, like, if we want to say height, length, width, whatever. When you add that depth in, it makes all the difference. And you were able to see some of the nuances I was trying to bring to the talk, which I absolutely adore in our conversation afterwards. Because again, I don't, and this is not a comparison thing. This is not to put anyone down thing, even though it comes across that way. It just was very exciting to see that you could see the depth of that. But vulnerability is everything. Vulnerability, and look, I think we even have a tiny bit of a difference of opinion on vulnerability, and that's okay. I love differences of opinion. I absolutely adore it. Um, how boring would it be if we were all the same? Goodness, no. Ugh. So I think that the connection can be built through vulnerability. And that was really what I was trying to get to. And I used other words and other pathways to get to that. But if I were to say what the meat of it was, is that vulnerability builds trust and trust builds relationships and relationships bring business. So in other words, vulnerability builds connection.
Do you think it takes vulnerability? Does vulnerability cancel out the fear? So we're not living out of fear. We're not selling out of fear. We're not building out of fear. I'm going back to your
No, you're fine. I
if
know where
you're
you're going.
because it's a there. I think there was a master class wrapped up in that 12-minute stage time. You talked about the poker hand,
Hmm.
and you said something about a bluff. If you've got a, but you said scared money.
Yeah, you can, so So whenever you play a game, if you play it scared, you can't be as effective.
Okay, so pause there. Is it that your take on life and how to show up as in an obsessed way? The answer to 42 is vulnerability
Part
because
of the
you're trying
answer.
to,
I believe this thing is
because you're not scared money, right? It,
I believe there's a lot of facets to it. And that's one of the facets. And you and I can go through all the other facets of it. So I think that that's an important distinction. It's not the answer, it's part of the answer, right? So vulnerability for me is part of the answer. And yeah, I kind of like where you went with that. I could probably go a lot deeper that with some pensive behavior, but I think vulnerability is very powerful. But I don't think it replaces something. I think it actually accentuates.
can I find my obsession absent vulnerability?
Yes, but can you get to the highest level without it?
That's a
Does it
great question.
unlock more? Does it unlock more pathways, corridors? Are you in a labyrinth? What analogy are we placing this towards? But I do believe that vulnerability, I really liked what you said, where does it take away fear? Is that how you worded it? Did you say, does it take?
When you were so okay, yeah,
I'll put it a little bit.
yeah. Well, because you talked about scared money loses.
It does.
Pro So I'm thinking vulnerability cancels out fear because I'm leaping, I'm jumping through it, or
Yeah, so like I'll give you
I'm
an example. If I'm playing poker, I'm not going to be so vulnerable. I'm going to say, "Hey, guess what? I'm going to tell you exactly what my hand is." Right? I'm not going to say I have two aces. Okay. But if I have 7-2, I'm going to make you think I have aces, and I'm going to play the hand exactly as if I had aces, and you're not going to know the difference. Okay, so I'm just using poker for example because you're using the word vulnerability. I don't want you to think that vulnerability is something where it makes you weak because I don't believe it makes you weak. I believe it makes you strong. And I will tell you, there's a lot of times, and this will be a tell. I'm giving away a tell right now. There's a lot of times when I played poker when I was younger that I would tell exactly what I had, and people would not believe me. And I'll be like, this is what I have, right? Sorry, this is what I have. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. All right, don't believe me, right? And I could be bluffing, or I could really have the hand. Like I could do that with kings, or I could do that with 9-9-2. I don't know. It just depends.
in your estimation, why how does obsession and discipline, how do they either complement one another or are two completely different paradigms of thinking?
For me, it's a hierarchy. And obsession is above discipline. Discipline's the entry level to things. Discipline is just you just do it, right? So if I just if I brush my teeth and I just brush them every now and then, okay, I'm taking the action. That's great. I'm taking some action. If I brush my teeth every day before I go to bed, okay, now I'm showing discipline. If I brush my teeth every single time I eat, no matter where I'm at, I'm getting closer to that obsession line. If I brush my teeth and floss and do this and use a water pick, I'm getting a little bit obsessive, right? So it's not like you got to be obsessive in everything. You choose. The cool thing about life is choice. Everything is around choice. And so you get to choose what your obsession on. Now, you can have an obsessive personality where you're obsessive about most things. You're still going to have some things you're not obsessed on because we're not built that way. We're all in on everything all the time. Now, there's people that are closer to that. So but for me, it's a hierarchy. You could put other words in there too. You could put passion. You could put action. You could
What
put,
sits above what sits above obsession?
will you tell me?
I think, okay, you really want my opinion?
I do, and then I'll give you a word. But yeah, give me something above obsession.
I think your story earlier elucidated on it when
Hmm.
you decided to lift people up.
Yeah.
That to me, it became culture, it became love.
So if
Like
you want a word above obsession, love is the word.
I agree.
I mean, love's up there. Love's up there.
Yeah,
How about
well,
this?
so this
Yeah.
podcast, like I want to re-listen to it, like when you included example, like selfishly, I would have liked to uh I would have I would have liked I would like to think that if we did the exercise together, I would have been at the very least egging you on to 500,000, even if my body wasn't moving and I was just
Yeah, but that's
talking
your
on the
nature. That's who you
ground.
are. That's why culture matters. That's who you are.
That way you could be more likely to accomplish it.
Hey, well, when I do go for the million, maybe you can come down with me. We'll do the million together.
I would like,
About 6 hours. Oh, geez.
but I'd like to think that I'm going to be adding. I want to be. I would like to think I'm going to be the person
Yeah.
that provides and multiplies, doesn't divide or
Conquer.
subtract. What'd you say?
I said conquer. Conquer.
Ah, ah.
All right, I got a word for you, Jay.
Wait. So you think it's love? You think is above obsession?
Hell yeah. How is now I don't mean so people conflate love and sex. I'm not. I'm saying love.
I'm glad we clarified that just for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know who's
Well, maybe sex is above it too.
yeah, there's genius, then there. So we're
So
having
I
too
got
much
I got a
fun
word for
now.
you. I got a word for you. Okay. Promethean.
Okay.
There's your word of the day. There's a word that there's your word of the day. And so yeah, we could say Promethean. We could say Promethean sex. There you go. There's your two words that don't go together that we'll put together.
What does Promethean mean?
Promethean intercourse. That's your title of this pod.
What 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 does that mean? Promethean. Isn't that a
Uh,
god of fire or something?
that's Prometheus. Yeah.
Okay.
So Prometheus.
Or no, there was someone eating out of his stomach, I thought.
He stole the
He stole
fire.
fire. Okay.
He
And
stole the fire
his
from God.
yeah, so what does this mean?
So yeah, I think you could use it like bold, innovative, transformative, um, defiant, maybe defiant in the pursuit of progress. Be a good way to word it. So now you can now Promethean intercourse makes more sense.
Where did obsession originally come from in your mind?
Passion, passion. Oh, you mean the word or my obsession?
Your obsession with obsession or your concept,
My concept
you're
of obsession.
conceiving this and this distinction between, discipline
Well, I
is
think look, I'm a pattern freak. And the thing is, when I was growing up, I started noticing things. Remember, I noticed the two bosses that treated
yeah, yeah.
different for the same thing, right? Um,
Wow. Hmm.
you look at the top of anything in this world, top business people, top athletes, top musicians, whatever they are. There's always the top seems to have some sort of talent to guide them there. Something. There's something on that. There's some sort of talent. If you look at a top industry expert in anything, there's something that pushes them there a little bit on the talent side. Typically, right? And there's always exceptions to every rule. But if you look at because there's extremes, right? So those people at the top are extreme. They just are in some way, shape, or form. The difference, though, is you have people with great talent that waste their talent. I've seen it in everything. There are amazing ball players that will never reach their potential because they don't have the work ethic behind their talent. So then you go into work. Okay, now we go into things like taking action, discipline. Well, then you go into some of the crazy, crazy superstars. And again, we can use athletics because it's easy. What do the greats have? They had obsession. They were all in. They were all in. They weren't doing things halfway. You look at industry giants. You get the best. Now, are there other outside factors? Of course, there's going to be outside factors that are play into everything. When you were born, where you were born. Um, people use the word luck. They use these different things, influences from others. It doesn't matter though. People rise from all occasions. There are phoenixes, and there's a lot of ashes that get risen from. So where I'm going with that is it goes to what we were talking about earlier, Jay. We hold ourselves back. Pass out before you die. Well, that doesn't just apply to this. We hold ourselves back. I heard an interesting quote, and I am going to have to paraphrase it because I don't remember it exactly, but it was something along the lines of we, what's the word? We accept where we are. There's something along those lines. And what they meant by it was if our life was completely unacceptable to us, we would change. Now, maybe we're on a trajectory where we are changing along the way. That's fine. But man, my shoulder's jacked. We we For those that go home and play video games all day, and then they're like, I want a better life. How much do they really want it better? Because they're not taking the action behind it, which means they're not taking the discipline behind it, which means they're not obsessed behind it. So we complacency is a human problem, and we all suffer from it to some degree. You got me down a little rabbit hole, my brother.
I started this company because my video games were taken away from me.
Yeah, and guess what? You can never go back to that. But they were great times in your life, but you can never go back, right?
Yeah, I
It's
didn't have the
okay though.
resources to
What's that?
continue. I didn't have the resources and the relationship.
And the drive.
No, I had the
Weren't
drive.
you weren't you more driven to do better in the game than to build the most amazing podcast ever back then?
I'm going back to 18. I'm going back to
Right. That's what I'm saying. At 18, were you even thinking this way? I'm guessing no. I'm thinking you weren't thinking this way. I'm thinking you were thinking about how to win the PvP match.
I was thinking about survival.
Okay. You're thinking about survival.
After
Exactly.
after I well, I'm just trying to after when I lost the option,
Yeah.
I moved into survival. Um, became obsessed with drop my
Became
with
obsessed with culture.
yeah.
Hey, where are you going? What are you doing down there?
with with um with food and water. Was
Hey,
was confidence something that you built or you stopped needing?
that I built or that I stopped needing.
How do you view that?
Uh, I mean, I still feel I'm pretty confident. Um, I feel it's how you use your confidence. So did I build it? That would mean, did I increase it over time? Yes. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance. There's a difference between you did a great job and you're a motherfucker. There's just a difference. And so I think that when people aren't confident, they should work to become confident. You can be confident without being a jerk, but confidence is a good thing, not a bad thing. I don't think confidence is a weakness at all.
How how did becoming financially independent young shape you into who you are today?
Uh, it definitely helped me make different decisions. Um, Your wife was teasing me today. So I went and got the I went and got the new Meta glasses,
That that that
and I
that
like them. They're cool, right? Because I had the version one, so I went and got the new ones. They're cool. You have this thing on your wrist. You can move things around. And I hacked them where I could put YouTube on it, so I can watch YouTube videos like when I'm driving I mean not when I'm driving, but when my Tesla is driving itself. And so it's kind of cool, right? Well, I was down at an office and I think I left them there, and I didn't. I completely lost them. So I'm like, this sucks. I lost them. So your wife's like, oh, well, at least you're rich. You can just go buy a new pair. I'm like, no, that's true. Like, that's not my problem. So I'm gonna go buy a new pair after we're done here, right? They're like $800. Okay. Sounds horrible. Like, this sounds stupid. Like, why am I thinking this way? So how did it change my life? Well, that's one way is that I don't worry about that type of stuff. I try to be frugal and I try to spend a lot of my money helping others, but at the same time, like, I don't, I don't, I don't worry about those little things, which are big things to some people. You got to remember, when I started, I had zero money. I had to get a student loan through my wife for 2 grand, just to get enough comfort level to try to get the first loans in. Um, and I had to go straight commission. By the way, you want to hear a weird lens, brother? Here's an unpopular lens for you. I think everyone in this world should be straight commission. Everyone. I think the cashier should be straight commission, and I should be tipping her on how awesome she did on helping me out. I think customer service, I think everything would improve. People will fight me on that and totally disagree. That's fine, but that's just my weird lens. I
why?
What's that?
Why?
Why do I think that?
Yeah.
I think the world would be a better place.
What?
Do you know how many people like so I have one son. I have 5 kids. My son's the middle. When my son, so my kids are pretty smart. Graduate top of the class, whatever, right? Um, so I try to be able to have conversations with them because they're smart, and I try to learn these different words, these big, you know, 7-letter words or 8-letter words. But anyways, so my third child, my third, fourth, and fifth, but my third and fourth right now, my wife talked him into quitting school. So they're like, I don't know, 14, 15, whatever. And she's like, just quit school. You're not going to learn anything more there anyways. Because our kids are like smart. Like it's not hard. Like my first daughter got top of the class. It's not hard to get full rides and all this stuff, right? It's partially a blessing and then also the work they put in. So starting with my son, my wife's just quit. And it sounds weird for a parent to say that, right? It's not like we're not pro education. We just want you to be able to control your education a little bit more. So they're young, so they get their GED, start on life, right? So my boy is like 14 or 15, whatever he is, I can't remember. Uh, he goes and gets his GED, quits school, and gets his first job. I'm like, if you're going to do this, you're going to start working. You got to learn this stuff, right? We're gonna learn life. Goes and gets a job at Taco Bell. Okay. So the dude just works and he learns and learning how to, and I like it because he's learning how to work with different people, see different personalities. So eventually he becomes a little manager there. Woohoo, work your way up.
Hmm.
So he goes in that manager's role. And he's got employees come in and they're doing their job, and oh, they've got to go on their break to smoke some pot, or they've got to go to this to do this. And he starts seeing it. He's like, these guys all make the same, but they all do different levels of work. So he's seeing this firsthand, which is I'm grateful he's seeing this. And that's partially where my weird lens comes from, that if everyone was straight commission, probably do a little better job at what we're doing versus like just kind of riding the coattails or just hanging out or waiting for the clock to hit a certain number so we can leave. And I think that we've been told in life, work for the weekends, all these weird sayings, all the 80s songs that are in my head nonstop from the way I grew up. Um, Here I'm working for the weekend, right? 9 to 5. I'm doing these things. So I don't care if it's sales, I don't care if it's customer service, I don't care if it's support. If you could tie everything to some sort of metrics that was fair, could you imagine society? Could you imagine people would be a lot nicer if they were paid on the culture that their company wanted to provide? I know it's la la land, I know it's out there, but it's still a weird lens.
You said love was above obsession, correct?
Love is above everything, brother.
How did you learn love?
I didn't. I grew up in a family that had no love. My family was insanely hard to grow up in. And it wasn't until I met my wife and her family and saw the way she grew up with love nonstop. And I feel, and I felt this my whole life, I could either be exactly like my parents and my family and my siblings, or I could be the exact opposite. And my goal in life is when I, this sounds horrible, when I have a decision, like I think about how my parents would have done it, and I do the opposite. Because my parents made decisions not out of love. And the value of love is there's a lot of people in this world that I don't think have really felt love or don't feel as much as they deserve to. And I wish that that could change because love is the most powerful thing, the right kind of love. I'm not, again, we got to define what it is, but if you know what I mean. Jay, how about this? Why don't you take the approach that you're wrong and your goal should be maybe you're less wrong.
I genuinely like listening to you.
Until that statement.
I have frankly, I think I'd like to have you back.
Oh
There was a
no.
time where the
I
audience
was
may not
banned.
know this. Yeah, you were banned.
I was banned. I was banned, boys and girls.
First, really anyone that's been banned. This is a Culture Matters podcast. This is the only guy that was not invited on the
Hey,
show. And,
you're out. You're out.
we don't talk about Fight Club.
That's right. That's right.
But now I've found meaning in this guest.
Oh,
I,
well,
I
thank
can't wait for the next go around. I've got more questions
you.
that I had when I started.
Achoo, achoo, achoo.
I hope my wife's not there with you sneezing. And
Yeah,
I do want to make a
definitely.
couple comments about your keynote there because it may
Sure.
not have been one, but I thought leadership is one of those things when you see it, when you know it, you see it. When you see it, you know it, I think.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So it may, first of all, the story, the joke, I wrote down my notes, and I'll just say this live. It had three layers to it. I just thought it was so brilliant. And the sneezing, then alone, then the fake sneeze. I'm sorry. That was one of the best jokes I've heard in a long time.
Well, thank you,
And so I
brother.
definitely want to acknowledge that you could do comedy. It's a really great way to transfer information. I also felt like you 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 did it. You had the speech just for me. You wanted me there to engage so that I would listen and I would grow. And I do appreciate you for who you are because it really just you're such a teacher and it's deeply appreciated by me.
Thank you,
And
bro.
thank you for that. I got so much out of your talk. Um, and I'm gonna re-listen to this and think. I'd love to maybe have you back to talk about uh, uh, to go deep on obsession. And because
Yeah, yeah.
I think that one of the things I'm gonna think about after today, listening to you, is I'm walking away with it's like how do we uncover our calling?
Dude, that's a good one. because everyone's calling is different.
And I think your take on obsession and your story can help us, not just myself, but our listeners, find their calling. So thank you for coming on the
Yes, sir.
Culture Matters podcast and sharing some of you yourself with us. It means a lot.
Hey, do you have a jingle?
Culture matters, culture. No, no. I like a jingle like at the beginning and the end kind of thing.
Culture matters.
Yeah, no, we need one. We need one. Yes, that's the
Oh, well, maybe I'll play around with that.
Jason DuPont. Man, thanks for coming on the Culture Matters podcast.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you, brother.
If you're listening to this, how can people follow you on Instagram?
I don't know. The socials are weird. Just
I'll tell them. I'll
think I
tell them.
think I'm I think I'm so I used my cycling one. So real quick story. So when I first started cycling, so I retired for a number of years. Retired, lost my mojo, had to get it back, started getting it back through cycling. Anyways, so Strava was a big thing, and dude, it was like an online video game. So Strava had these things called King of the Mountain. So you'd like have to like to go faster, climb harder, all that. So I wanted to take pictures on every now and then. And the only way to get my pictures onto Strava was to hook up an Instagram account. So I had a loan history on that. So I think home loan cyclist, right? Because home loans, and then I was a cyclist, right? So I just made this up, and that's how the account went, and I just never changed it. So that's where it's at.
So here it is. It's home period, loan period, cyclist.
Yeah.
And what I like about it are the quotes. I want to ask you about that. So have you always been writing your quotes down, or is that a new thing? You have a couple more minutes?
Yeah, I got time. Yeah, especially on TikTok. I'll do like Jason DuPont on TikTok. I do a lot of quotes there. I think I'm Jason DuPont on Facebook too. But so quotes, the funny thing is, and I believe this about all social for me. Okay, I don't want to speak for anyone else. My social accounts, I put a lot of weird stuff on there. My social accounts are not for anyone but me. They're really just my memories and history and my journal. Like that's all they are. So people are like, well, why'd you post that? Because I want to remember it. And I want a year from now where it's like, hey, remember this a year ago? Like I want those memories, I want those things, so I don't have to think about it. So all my socials, they're all for me. And I get the luxury of people seeing them and commenting and saying blah blah blah. But I don't do it for that at all, which by the way, is another way to not run by fear because it's more pure that way, right? So the quotes, I my entire life feel like this is maybe a little bit more sad. Um, thing is that sorry, I'm getting texts like crazy. Um, I feel like I've had to self-talk a lot through my life. Um, my parents were not good. I was beaten a lot as a kid. Um, many horrible stories. And so from that, I had to learn how to um, get through that. And the way I got through it was encouraging myself. I didn't have someone I could go to help me through it or coddle me or do any of those things. I had the opposite. And so through time, I decided to write things down and then I'd refine it. And so I try to write at least one quote down a day. Sometimes I write multiple. But what I do is I write it initially and then I just try to refine it and twist it and turn it and see what would make a little more sense. And sometimes they come out and I look at them a week later, I'm like, why did I put that? I kind of meant more of this. But in general, I get them to a place where it's like, at least that's my lens. That's what I try to get to. I try to get my lens of things. And I try to make them where they're short and punchy versus long and because I feel like if I do it, here's my goal for me. If I do it right, I can create where I'm a little bit more introspective and can help myself level up if I write the quote right for me, which in turn helps me have that lens on helping others level up. You've heard, and people again fight me on this all the time, but I'm a firm believer you have to take care of yourself before you take care of others. There's a couple of mantras. That's one of them. The other one is I hate people that say fake it till you make it. I can't stand fake it till you make it. That's part of my vulnerability thing that we can go into next time. Because when you when you fake it, you're not being vulnerable, right? So fake it till you make it bullshit. But the reason I say you got to take care of yourself before you take care of others, it goes to that analogy. If you're on a plane and the plane, the masks drop, you put the mask on yourself before your baby. People say, well, no, I'm going to put on the baby first. Well, if you don't put on yourself first, you may not get it on both of you. So you put on yourself, then you put on the baby. And I think that's a good lens for me is that if we can take care of ourselves, then we can spread that around and help those around us. And we're not stopping growing along the way, though. When I learn something from you that inspires me, Jay, it doesn't mean you're done in life. It means I got to see something cool from you, and now you're still on the next version of you. I might be on Jason 2.0 and you're on J 5000, but you might want to get to J 5001. You know what I'm saying?
Why did you retire?
Because I made a mistake and I hit a goal. I didn't need money, and I just said, I could just play, try to be a good dad, be a good father, but I didn't need to do anything. I lost my drive. I lost the thing that makes me me at that point. So um, I have the unique benefit of not needing to work, but not being able to retire. So I would rather build things and be around. I call it, the word I use is ballers. I have to surround myself with ballers. I have to because complacency is my thief of joy. It robs me of who I am. So if I'm around too many mediocre people for too long, it puts me in that place. I want to be around people that where we're always challenging and going and growing. And look, that some people would say, well, that would be so tiring. Okay. Well, it's not like you can't take a break, right? But there is something super special about progression. And here's a belief that I have, another belief. You can hear all my weird beliefs. I believe in eternal progression, which means I never believe that we're going to be up in heaven playing harps with each other. You're not going to play my harp, Jay, because
Oh,
I want to progress forever and I want those around me to progress forever and I want to progress forever with those that I love and 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 hopefully they love me back. Progression is such a powerful thing.
what does complacency mean to you?
You want the dictionary definition or my definition?
Yours.
If I were to sum it up in one word, it'd be mediocrity. It would be, I don't want to be around where people just don't care or they're not motivated or they're motivated to only a certain degree and then it's good enough. I've already been there. I would be tired when it was good enough. I could retire right now, but I won't be happy. I would rather build something and fight and struggle. I would rather fight and struggle. Do you know how much good, and I teach this to my kids, and other parents have not liked me for this. I want my kids to struggle. I want my kids to struggle. I want my kids to struggle because that's how they grow and become ballers. You can't be a baller without struggle. You can't. You may think you can, and then what happens when shit hits the fan? Do you crumble because you don't know how to get through it? There's value in struggle. Um, and again, big thing I used to say in cycling is you know you're going the right way when you're going uphill. And a lot of that may not mean things to a lot of people, but gravity is everyone's enemy. And I don't care how much you weigh, gravity is one of your biggest enemies on the bike. So if you're going up a 10% grade, that's hurting. It's hurting. But guess what? You're growing. You're struggling. You're getting better. Every single day that we struggle, we get better. And so that's why sometimes it's really hard to do in the moment when you're going through a hard time. But every single person listening to your podcast right now, every person, there's no exception. Every single person goes through hard times in their life and has gone through a hard time, and maybe even going through a hard time right now in some degree. How do we get to the point where we're like, you know what? There's ebbs and flows. I'm in the ebb right now. And guess what? I'm going to fight through it till I get to that flow again. How do we get to that? How do we get to that lens? How do we get to the lens of like not shutting down because of the struggle or not, woe is me, my life sucks. Everyone's life sucks. It
It's
sounds so
just
heartless.
maybe,
It does not sound like love to a lot of people. But I'm going to ask you a very profound question for next time. I actually would want to see what your thoughts are on this. Would you mind if I asked you a question?
yes.
Okay, then I won't ask it. If you
Um,
mind, I don't want to ask you a question if you mind.
no.
Oh, you don't mind. All right, then I'm asking it. I'm asking it anyways.
I like messing with you. He was the only guy, he wasn't on the show. Now he's on the show. I don't know how he does it.
Check this out.
Wait, he wasn't on the show. Now he's on the show. Now he's interviewing me on the next show. How about that for this guy? Wow.
It's just one question. It's
No
just one
one like him.
question.
Wow.
Hey, you know you're going to love to answer this one
Oh, on the next show, yeah.
on the next show. This is a thinking one.
Yeah, it's an open loop.
Does it show more love to advocate struggle? Because we talked about love being at the top of the food chain, the top of the hierarchy. Does it show more love to advocate struggle or less? That's a deep one, especially if you really want to go down a rabbit hole. And that can be for kids, that can be for peers, that could be for coworkers, that can be for loved ones, spouses, girlfriends, boyfriends, all that stuff. Does it show more love to advocate struggle? Deep one, huh? Can't answer it now. I won't either. I'm gonna be good. Respect.
You're listening to this podcast. I would challenge you to not only follow Jason DuPont, please share this with someone who could use some love,
Love.
and we will.
Or just wants to grow, right? Just wants to think a little different for a day. Nothing wrong with sharing things that you want to help others.
Jay, I can't wait for part two, and really thank you again for coming and the open invitation
Thank you.
for me to be
I'm
myself
grateful.
on the show.
I'm grateful I'm on the list. What's up,
Who's
brother?
who's there with you?
This guy's name's John. He carried me
Oh,
once.
look forward to meeting you, John. Oh,
Never met
John,
you
get out of
before.
here. That's great. I'm glad you're on
I didn't
here.
know you were talking to Jay. I would have barged in
I
for
just want to let you
sure.
know
Oh
this
man,
guy carried me from a BPO into an airplane.
it's good to see you.
You too,
We'll have
Jay.
to have you on. We'll have to have you on the
And
show.
lastly, before we go, Jay, do you know why he
John
carried
Flores.
John
Everyone
Flores?
that's listening, we got John Flores here.
You know why he
Oh,
carried me? Because I didn't
What?
want to get my blue suede shoes wet because it was raining like cats and dogs outside.
I think I saw that on your media just for you, not the social media,
For me,
your
buddy.
media.
Just for me,
Yeah,
baby.
your
Just
social.
for me, baby.
John, good to see you.
good seeing you.
All
And
right.
we will see you next time on the Culture Matters podcast.